Imagine walking into your local supermarket. You pick up a couple pounds of red delicious apples, overpriced due to gas and transportation problems, and grab a box of strawberries. After checking out, you begin feeling a little hungry, so you bite into one of the apples. You might wince at the bittersweet flavorlessness and look down, noticing the greenish, unripe tint of the inside. Disgusted, you set the apple aside and open the box of strawberries. After sampling a few, you realize that they are all hard and tart. Finally, you drive home, feeling annoyed with the economic conditions that caused this low standard for food enjoyment. Now, this experience is obviously less than enjoyable. Unfortunately, a majority of our stores and supermarkets will put you in a similar position. Now picture this. You walk into your local store. When you arrive in the produce section, something strikes you as different. The fruit is large, plump, and juicy, and the greens look thicker and greener. Wondering about the change, you buy your fruit. As you are checking out, you ask the cashier what happened. They tell you that this fruit was grown down the street at the local hydroponics store. On your way home, you bite into a strawberry half the size of your fist and are amazed at the intensity of the flavor. What exactly does the phrase hydroponics mean, and how could one warehouse in the middle of a city produce enough food to steadily supply a store? Hydroponics refers to the process of growing plants directly in water. Instead of using soil to provide the plants with the nutrients they need, substrates such as vermiculite, peat moss, and coconut fiber provide the plant's roots with support. Water is adapted to comply with the plant's ideal pH and nutrient levels. Hydroponic systems allow for much more production flexibility, allowing warehouses to consolidate, thus explaining the possibility of a productive warehouse in the middle of a city. Hydroponic systems focused on maximizing space output include vertical hydroponics. With this system, plants are placed on columns reaching as high as the building allows. Columns emitting UV light are then placed in between plant columns. Thus, hundreds of acres of farmland can be condensed into just one warehouse. The efficiency hydroponics presents may be the key to supporting the large population growth we expect in 2025. Hydroponics combines science and agriculture on a whole new level to create healthy, tasty food, while eliminating many of the problems faced by current agriculturists. For instance, one problem in the previously mentioned story was the taste of the apple. It had perfect looks, but in order to achieve that, taste had been sacrificed. Luckily, when growing plants in a controlled hydroponics environment, the light wavelengths can be changed to affect the plant's growing patterns. Certain wavelengths of light can change the color of fruit a plant produces, cause it to flower, cause it to grow longer stems, and many more things. Thus, in order to achieve uniform, idealistic looks, only the light wavelengths emitted through the grow bulb would need changed, eliminating the need for years and years of breeding and chance. Hydroponics not only annuls the need for risky breeding, it revokes the demand for pesticides and herbicides. The indoor plants in controlled environment do not introduce any situation where these solutions would be necessary. One of the reasons a hydroponics warehouse could potentially support an urban community is that the warehouse can control temperature and affect the plant's growing patterns by modifying the amount of sun time they receive, allowing the plants to grow all year long. For instance, hydroponics do not require soil to be grown, so many of the regular growing restrictions don't matter. For instance, lettuce generally requires soil with a pH of 5.5 to 6.0, which means it would not be compatible in alkaline soils. Luckily, in hydroponics, the water can be adapted to better support a wider variety of plants, giving the warehouse owners more freedom to choose what type of plants they want and grow them wherever they want. Additionally, one problem faced by producers is that it's hard to transport produce, and the gas prices are very high, so there's a lot of cost problems there. Fortunately, hydroponic systems would most likely be in a local city where they would be supplying to local stores. Therefore, those problems would not be as large as they would be otherwise. Finally, hydroponics warehouses have a big concern with power outages. Luckily, in big cities, there are backup plans to deal with those, and they can be fixed relatively quickly. As the farmers of our world strive to produce enough food to support an ever-growing population, it is important that they don't deplete our unrenewable resources. Luckily, hydroponic farms contain the skills that could help conserve energy while farming. For instance, of the water used annually, 70% is usually used for farming, and of that 70%, 40% is usually lost due to poor irrigation, water evaporation, and overall poor water management. Fortunately, hydroponic farms contain water evaporation and don't use pesticides and herbicides to pollute the water. Additionally, hydroponics help conserve soil's integrity, as soil is not used at any time during the growing process. Finally, hydroponics help preserve the natural resources used in the creation of pesticides and herbicides, as they are not required to keep the plants healthy. Besides its obvious economic benefits, hydroponics also would help increase the urban standard of living. For instance, Plenty Ag, a major hydroponic company, talked to a consumer who had begun substituting healthy hydroponically grown greens for junk food as a snack because the greens were so cheap and tasty. Hydroponics may be the key to raising our national health level. Additionally, hydroponics may help increase agricultural awareness, as urban community members would be able to experience agriculture on a local level. Self-reliance is one of the major values of agriculturists everywhere. One of the most satisfying parts of farming is realizing that through all of your hard work, you are providing food and support for your family and others. Hydroponics would be able to help improve our nation's health and self-reliance. Thank you.